Hello everyone, there is an update to ZeroBrush 1.5, and if you purchase ZeroBrush, then you should receive an email with a download link to get this newest version. It's kind of soon for me to be doing another update. I just did one about a week ago, but I recently added a really powerful, awesome tool that I just wanted to get out to everyone as quick as possible. So with this sphere selected here, I'm going to select my texture paint button. Of course, we can just start painting on it now, but let's click on brush. And I'm going to pick one of my brushes from my seamless elemental brush pack you can get at blendersensei.com. And I'm just gonna select this one here by double clicking it. Press X to increase the size of my brush and just paint on a little bit onto the surface of this sphere. I'll increase my hardness to speed up the application of that a little bit. Under our color layers, we have the option to increase or decrease the bump value of our color layer. And of course, we can add individual bump layers if I click the Add Bump Layer button. And I'll press Shift X to decrease my strength of the brush. And you see when I paint this down onto the bump layer, it's not recording any color information. I could press Add Bump and add another bump layer, and then tap space to bring up my brush selection, select my draw brush, and then just click white because that works better with bump maps, and draw something like this. Or I could click on the line stroke tool, increase its hardness a little bit, and do something like this, or hold shift. So anyway, I've now got these 3 different bump layers, which I can change their bump value up here. Now this is fine while we're in Blender to have all these different bump maps, but if you plan on exporting whatever object you're working on to a game or some other type of program that doesn't use bump maps, or you simply need to just conserve resources by having all of these different bump layers onto a single normal map, we can now do that with the Merge Normals option in our ZeroBrush Options menu. So if I click Options, right here it says Merge Normals, and if we press that, that will merge the bump effects of any color layer, all bump layers, as well as any normal layers into a single normal layer, which is really cool. So I could either come here under Options and select Merge Normals, or I could tap Q, come here and click Merge Normals. Okay, so now that that's done, I should mention that when you press Merge Normals, this is a baking process, and anytime you're performing a bake process in Blender, it may take from a few seconds to a few minutes, depending on how much stuff you've got going on and the size of the maps that you're going to make. So now that we've done that, we are now on this sphere normal layer here that's been created. If we come up here and click 0 on this layer's value, all of the bump effects have gone away. Even though we had 2 bump layers and a color layer that was using bump effects, all of the effects now exist in this one normal layer, not a bump layer. It's a normal layer that will, work with game engines and such. The Merge Normals button also does something else nice for us. It automatically disables the visibility of any prior bump or normal layers, or even the effects of the bump and the color layer. It resets it to 0 so that we can immediately see the effect of our new normal layer here. But of course, we could delete this layer, or we could hide it, and we could come back here and adjust any of these individual bump layers, or add to them or subtract from them or whatever, and then we can always come back and create a new normal layer. Or we could actually just delete these and get rid of these and just use our one normal layer, which has combined all of these. So stellar. So from the beginning, ZeroBrush has had the ability to create a normal map from your object's sculpt detail with the press of one button. So for instance, if you were to click on the sculpt button here, and we could go ahead and tap Alt-Z, which sends us into solid viewport shading, just so it's a little easier to work with. Then we could press Make Sculptable, with this sphere selected here and just tap more a few times to give ourselves some detail to work with this multi-res modifier that is added when we do that. So I could just sculpt on here. And notice that this is not a bump map we're actually sculpting right now. If I were to tap Z, we can see the actual geometry here on this sphere. You know, whatever we're doing, we could do anything like this. We could load another brush. Say these rocks here. And just do like this. And it looks like I could probably increase that detail a little bit, but this is just for demonstration purposes. So if we wanted to turn all of the detail of this geometry, as we can see when we're in wireframe mode here, into a normal map, all we do in ZeroBrush is press this as image button. So I'll go ahead and press that. And when that finishes, it automatically turns on viewport shading so that we can see what our actual normal map looks like. And if we press less a few times, which decreases the amount of actual geometry detail. So for instance, if we come down here and we see where all the sculpt detail was added, we can press Z now and we can see that in wireframe mode that these planes are very large. However, the detail is all baked into that normal map. So if we click on our texture paint button, here is our normal map that was created from our sculpt detail, you know, all these little lines here, and then also the rock brush that we added there. So if I decrease this normal value, we can see how that is affecting there, or I could turn the visibility of our other normal layer that we created out of the bump layers and the bump effect of the color layer there. I could turn that off so we can just see our sculpt normal here. And so the great thing about this new feature is that we can merge normal layers all together, or we could merge this normal layer with those original bump layers, and it makes no difference. Any number of normal or bump layers, you can all merge together now by just clicking Merge Normals. So we'll turn the visibility of that back on, so we've got both of these normal maps, and then when we're ready to go, we just click Options and select Merge Normals again. Okay, all done there, and as we can see, ZeroBrush has kindly hidden the previous normal layers and bump effects so that we can get straight to seeing how our new bump layer is affecting our material. So for instance, if I were to change this to 0, we see the entire bump is gone. So it's all but contained into this single normal layer. And if we didn't like that, we could hide that, turn the visibility back on our previous ones, make whatever adjustments we wanted to these various layers or whatever, and we could make another one. But I think this one turned out good, so I'm going to just click X on these other normal layers. Now we've merged detail from sculpting this object, from the color layer, from actual bump layers, all into this single really amazing normal layer, which works in both Cycles and Blender Render. So that's awesome. So if we were going to export this object or something like that, and we needed to save its maps out, all we would do is come down here, click Save to Hard Drive, and then click this button to select a location. So I could click my desktop, click Create New Directory to make a new folder, maybe just call it Characters, Textures, I guess. Click inside of there. So this is the folder, and we click Accept. And so when we press Save My Layers, all changes that we make will be saved to that location. So if I press my OS key, that's my little Windows key on my keyboard, and I press this little button over here, this brings me to my desktop so we can see the folder we just made. And in here is the color layer and the normal layer. So that's all that exists, are these two layers producing all this really awesome detail. So I hope you guys enjoy this new feature. I know a lot of people have been asking about it for a while now, and so it's really great to finally have that available in ZeroBrush. So thanks for watching.